Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the Hot Toys 1/6 scale Superman Man of Steel figure. One thing I like about this packaging is it's got the gloss Superman logo on the side, on both sides. And I dig that the S is textured in a similar way that the suit is textured. Same thing with this top piece of the packaging. And the inner packaging has that texturing on it as well. Here's the figure and his cape and accessories, which is a separate piece from the base underneath, which I'll give you a closer look at right now. Now this is a good looking base, and I really like that they sculpted in some great texturing into that Superman S. I think it looks really good. Now this base has a little hole at the top where you can screw in this bendable arm and attach this C-clamp to it so you can put Superman in there and pose him in any flying positions, and he doesn't have to stand directly on the base. Now he also comes with this 1/1 scale Kryptonian command key, and I think if you're a fan of the movie, it's like having a little prop replica, and that's a really nice thing that they included. I think that's pretty awesome. They also included, let's see if I can even show this to you, this 1/6 scale Kryptonian command key, and it is flippin' tiny. But it looks really good. I think it turned out cool. Now he comes with fist hands on the figure, but he also comes with wide open hands and kind of relaxed palm hands. And the last pair of hands that he comes with are kind of flat hands. Now this is a solid face sculpt. It certainly looks like Henry Cavill, no doubt about that. Now let's take a closer look at it and see if we can check out some of the details. I really do like the way they sculpted his eyes and eyebrows and that little ridge right in the middle there. It looks really good. Now they did their usual paint freckling, and it's maybe a little too much freckling for my taste, but it still looks pretty good overall. But even just the little areas on the edge of his eyelid where, you know, people's eyes tend to darken a little bit, that skin area, that's a good skin sculpt and paint darkening. Now the hairline is also really good. I think they did a great job sculpting his wavy hair the way it's kind of presented in the movie. It's a really, really solid sculpt, and I dig that they kind of sculpted and painted these little rogue wispy hairs sticking out at the back end there. It's a nice little detail, and I think it's cool they included that. Now, Superman's costume in the movie had a lot of good surface detail, and I'm really impressed that Hot Toys was able to replicate all that texturing in such a small scale. Clearly there's some sort of cloth base, you know, like some tights with then some sort of material painted or coated over it, and it's really, really good work. I'm not going to be posing this in any crazy extreme poses, because one thing I'm concerned about is the stretch of this material. I'm kind of nervous that if you stretch his extremes too far, pardon the crotch shot, but if you stretch stuff too far, you might tear the material, and that makes me a little bit nervous. You can pose it however the hell you want, but I'm going to play it a little safe and a little conservative. Articulation on this figure is pretty solid. I've kind of played with some of the joints already, and there's nothing to complain about as far as like elbows, shoulders. The wrists are good. The waist is good. One thing that's really solid though, I'm used to Hot Toys having, you know, solid boots, but these are soft boots, so you do get a good range of motion out of the feet. It's not something I was expecting, but it is something that I dig quite a bit. You can see the texturing on the boots. It's good overall. You see these little details on the back of the knees. One thing worth noting is how well this element of his back was achieved as far as the lines on his hips go. It's sculpted well. It's applied and painted well. You know, there's not a lot to complain about here. It's a really, really solid piece of costume. Also, the size of him is really good. They did a good job creating not only his bulk, but translating it through the suit, so it has a really good shape to it. It doesn't read loose, it doesn't read too tight and feel like a little action figure. It feels like really buff Superman body. And another thing that I dig that the cape is already applied, that you don't have to install it like some other Hot Toys figures. The cape already comes on, and I like the folds that they did here. And here's just a wider shot of the cape and how it hangs in the back. And one last thing, the little wrist guards look really good. I think they did a good job sculpting these. Alright, I am screwing the arm into the base and attaching the C-clamp. There's a little cap that screws on top that keeps the C-clamp from coming off. Now I like the C-clamp includes this little bottom lip. Some of the C-clamps in the past didn't have those, and I think that'll help stabilize the figure a little bit and cause them to swivel around less. I dig it. It's a good improvement. So here he is hanging off the new arm, and I like that it's a bendy arm. Here, I'll show you that there so you can see how much that it does. Kind of, you can bend him forward, lean him over the base, and have him more upright. You can have him go from like side to side, whatever kind of position you want to put him in. This figure is currently available at Corner Store Comics, which is where I buy most of my 1/6 scale figures. And I gotta say, if you're a Man of Steel fan, I think you're really gonna like this figure. One thing that's worth pointing out is that compared to his suit in the movie, I would say that the space between the top of his S and the black collar is a little wider on this figure than it is in the movie. It's slightly closer. There's not as much of a gap there. But it's not a huge gap, like a huge noticeable difference, but it is a slight difference that's worth noting. But I think the bendy arm on the base is a really nice touch. It allows you to get him in some really cool flight poses that you couldn't do otherwise with a regular arm. He's got good articulation, and his suit looks fantastic. It's got a great head sculpt. I think this figure turned out great. If you're a fan and you got the money, go for it. Thanks for watching.